The question, so what do you want to be when you grow up, used to be such an innocent one when we were kids. And I'm sure that your relatives did not know the amount of distress and anxiety they'd be causing in your 20s and later on when you still haven't figured it out. And I know this is something I've definitely struggled with, and I used to be so jealous of the kids who knew exactly what they wanted to do. So if they knew they wanted to be a doctor or a lawyer or a vet, then they just got on that path and they had direction for what they were doing. But what if, like me, you like a lot of different things and you can picture yourself doing a number of different careers? Then the decision becomes much more difficult. And potentially previous generations worried more about, how can I just put food on the table and pay my bills? Whereas now, a lot of people have the luxury to choose what they want to do for work, but that choice comes with a lot more pressure on that decision. So not only does the job have to pay good money, but it also needs to give us flexibility to work on our own terms and needs to be meaningful and fulfilling and do a lot of good for the world, and the list grows. So that's a lot of pressure on that one decision. And if you're struggling with this question, you're not alone in this. In fact, according to a survey by the London Business School, 47% of people, that's nearly half the population in the UK, want to change their career. So you're not alone in not knowing what exactly it is you want to do. But coming to this point where I finally feel much happier and more fulfilled and more excited about the work that I'm doing, I'm here to share with you 3 home truths about deciding what it is you want to do, thinking about what are the things that are holding you back and what you should actually look for in a role. Let's get to it. Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name's Eva and I'm a career coach and customer success director on a mission to help people build meaningful careers. And I was so excited about this question that came from one of my subscribers. Speaking of, if you're not yet a subscriber, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell to make sure you're notified of new videos on all things career every Friday. But also comment down below and let me know what your questions are that you'd like answered. So this question on choosing what you want to do, this question was for your first job, but it comes on to even after the first job, a lot of people haven't yet figured out what it is they wanted to do with their life and with their career, and that was definitely the case for me. So I wanted to come on to this bigger question. I'll start off by saying there is absolutely nothing wrong with you. At whatever age, a lot of people still have not figured out exactly what it is, but I do strongly believe that when people do work that they are passionate about and they enjoy, they will bring a lot more to the table and do more good for the world. So it's worth taking the time to figure it out. So here are 3 home truths that you should think about when it comes to deciding what work you want to do. Home truth number 1, you will never get to the answer by thinking about it. You actually have to do the work. And I know it might seem quite obvious when you say it, but it's incredibly easy to fall into that trap of doing another online quiz of what career should I do? You've done it. Or writing down your skills and trying to match it to different careers and just brainstorming and asking all of your friends about what they do. All of this research is great, but ultimately you're not going to figure it out until you actually try doing the thing, whatever that thing may be. And I've got a personal example as to how I got to this piece of wisdom. For 3 years, I debated in my head about becoming a programmer. I spoke to all of my friends who were programmers. I looked at all the different crash courses. I looked at how employable people were after doing one of these short courses, whether I needed a degree or not. And in all of that time, I did no actual programming. And it was only until a friend of mine who is a programmer decided to run a crash course during lockdown where I finally let this decision go, because I spent 3 weeks, compared to the 3 years of thinking, I spent 3 weeks actually programming, actually doing some of the exercises, and then figuring out that I feel no satisfaction that compares to the amount of frustration I feel trying to figure out these answers. So I very quickly decided that programmers are constantly going to be in that frame of mind and in that position. So if that wasn't going to work for me for 3 weeks, how was I possibly going to make a career out of it? So I know it may seem obvious, but if you haven't actually been doing the thing that you say you want to do, find an opportunity to do it, because it will help you much more quickly figure out what you like and what you don't. Home truth number 2, you already know what you like. And of all the home truths, I'm sure this is the one that you didn't want to hear. I know how much you want someone to just look at your skill set and tell you what you're good at and just tell you to go out and do that thing. But if you really think about it, who are the people in your life who tell you what to do or give you unsolicited advice? Sometimes that's your friends, but more often it's your parents. And how often do you actually listen to exactly what they tell you to do? Probably not all of the time, because you haven't been invested in that decision and you haven't decided on something that aligns to what you enjoy and what you know you're good at. More likely, this has just come down to you thinking you might not be good enough, or you don't have the skills, or you're afraid of what people might think. And these are not good reasons to not go after what you want, because you could be bringing the next great thing into the world. But if you never try it out, you're never going to find out. And I'll get to how you can deal with the things that are holding you back. But deep down, you already know what the things you like are. So focus on those when it comes to choosing the career you want to go after. And no, this is not a fluffy, you should make your passions your career talk, because that may or may not be the right decision for you. But you have to consider your other priorities given the things that you know that you like. So for example, because I've wanted to try out many different careers, and one of them was being a professional dancer. Now, dance is a huge passion of mine. I teach on the side, I perform, I love it, and really would enjoy spending a lot of my time dancing. But when I actually thought about what does a career like that look like and considered my other priorities of, number one, financial independence. This is a deal breaker for me. I know what standard I need when it comes to income to be flexible and feel secure. So financial security and financial independence was the first one. And second, my social life. I love spending time with my friends. I love having the flexibility to see the people that I love and spend time with the people I care about. So when I considered a career that involved being a full-time dancer, a lot of the time, I would end up working at the times when my friends were off, because I'd work on weekends and I'd work in the evenings, and I wouldn't have time to spend as much time with the people that I love. So financial independence, along with the schedule and what the work actually looks like, are what eventually helped me decide that that wouldn't be the right career path for me. And here's where I found another interesting piece of wisdom, that a lot of the times, most of what I enjoy through dance is that you can inspire people. And I now manage a team of 10 amazing people, and I'm able to inspire and motivate them. And it's that aspect of dancing that filters into the career that I do now and the coaching that I do now, which allows me to get that fulfillment even though I'm not living my passion every day. Again, it may be the right choice for you to live out your passion, but do you have the financial means to be able to support yourself? And does it fit the kind of schedule that you want your life to have? Things to consider as well. Home truth number 3, it doesn't matter. And this is especially important if you're going after your first role. And I know that right now it seems like the biggest decision in the world, but your first job is probably not going to be your last job. In fact, Investec research found that millennials on average have 12.5 jobs in their lifetime. So you would definitely be in the minority if you stayed within one job for the rest of your life. You will have opportunities to change that up. The problem is, schools and universities convince us that you absolutely need to have these particular qualifications before you go off and do something else. I know when I was choosing my GCSEs, or while I was doing my GCSEs, I came up with the idea that I may want to be a doctor, but then I didn't have physics as part of my GCSEs. And if I didn't have physics, I wouldn't be able to get into university to study medicine. So I self-taught myself the physics GCSE in the summer before going into our A-levels. But the real world doesn't work like that. You can gain skills at any time, and it's never too late. Be open to the fact that what you like may completely change. You might want to do something completely different in your next job or in 10 years' time. So while it's great to get some experience, and I will tell you later on what to look for when you are going after a role, if you don't know that it's the perfect fit, what's important. But it's okay that if your first job isn't the dream job. Most people don't have that. This is going to be a very special 10-second dance break, and I'll tell you the story about it just after. So now that we've covered the home truths, here are the things that are holding you back from going after the career that you love. The first one is that you don't have the skills. I remember when I was at summer camp, I told my camp counselor, Janusz, if he watches this, that I really wanted to be in the school play as a dancer, but I wasn't going to be able to do it because all the dancers in the school play were ballerinas, so I wouldn't be able to get in, and that I was singing in the group, so I wouldn't be selected. And he wrote me a note when I was leaving camp that just said, ballet. And it was probably the greatest note I ever received, because I auditioned for the school play and I explained to my teachers that this is what I really wanted to do, and now dancing is just part of my identity. So that dance break that you saw was actually the dance that I did for my school play when I finally got in, and that's why it's so happy. It's actually a Greek dance called Sousta. If you really liked it, go find out more. So you don't have to stop yourself because you don't have the initial skills. You can always pick up new skills. There are hundreds of free courses online that you can do from the comfort of your own home, and you can pick up any new skills that you need to. Or if you tell yourself that you don't have the qualifications, well, if anyone studied in the UK, I got a 2-2, which is a fairly poor grade for my biomedical science degree, which by the way has nothing to do with the type of work I do now. But to be honest, no one in an interview ever asked me about my grade, even though that is the gaping hole in my CV that someone could press and ask me a question on. But because I had good experience, no one focused on the bit that was wrong. So you can either work around those qualifications. A lot of organizations are realizing that having a university degree is not actually an indicator that people will be very successful in their role. So you can either get around that qualification, or you can just study and get that qualification. So it's not an excuse. If you want to have your own business, an excuse might be, I don't have the money, or what will people say, and I might not be good enough and I can't do it. So basically, the biggest reason why you're not making it work and going after the career are all those reasons that you tell yourself you can't do it. So I'm going to challenge you with something. Every time you tell yourself, I can't do this because, start to think about, well, how could I do this? So I can't apply for this job because I don't have that qualification. Well, how could I go about learning those skills? How could I go about getting that qualification? Could you pick up some extra hours? Could you do a side hustle to bring some more income in? Could you increase your studying hours? There's always a way to get around the thing that you really, really want to make happen. So that's the challenge. Every time that you think about the reasons you can't do something, try and come up with 3 other great reasons of how you could. Now that you have some tools to fight that negative mindset and empower yourself to find solutions to build the career that you love, let's look at some of the things that are important when it comes to considering a new job or a career transition. The first is, how much will you be learning from this experience? There's a reason that 91% of employers for first-time graduates prefer the employees to have some kind of work experience. And it's because they've picked up some transferable skills. Regardless of any industry, being able to meet deadlines, being able to communicate effectively, that's going to come in really handy no matter the role. But look for the jobs that are going to give you maximum learning potential and move you slightly closer to where you want to be. And again, this may not be your forever job, so make sure it's a job that you can absorb as much great information as possible. If you want to work in a corporate environment, I would highly recommend presentation skills, having sales skills, and being able to rock a spreadsheet. Those 3 will put you in really good stead, so make sure you're in opportunities where you can pick up some of those. The second thing to consider when going after a new job is, how will you cover your basic needs? And note, I haven't said can you cover, because as we've said, we can always find solutions. So if there's a job that you really love but maybe they don't pay enough, can you negotiate that salary? Is there a competitor that offers a higher salary? Can you pick up some extra hours doing a side hustle? There are always ways to manage your basic needs. And while I see a lot of unpaid internships out there, and if it's the dream job, I would say go for it and do that unpaid internship. But make sure that there is a way that you can cover your expenses, because you're not going to be able to give your whole self if you're only stressing about being able to pay your bills. Third thing you should consider when going after a new role is, are you moving closer to what you want to be doing. You may not have the means to immediately move to the thing that you want to do. It's kind of like when you dye your hair. If I wanted to go blonde, no hairdresser would recommend go blonde immediately. They'd say do this over a number of stages. And we all know what happens when people get greedy and go blonde immediately. You don't want to do that. You want to transition slowly, so it's fine to move slowly towards the job that you want to be doing. Are you working towards, closer to an industry that you're passionate about, or are you working more with people that you share a common cause with? So as long as you're taking steps within that direction to eventually get to the type of thing that you want to get to, that's great too. Now, I know that there's a lot to think about and it's not an easy question. I hope this video has given you some clarity and some things to think about, because if I just gave you the answer, it wouldn't align to you and what would be good for you and what you can bring to the world. So you need to figure that answer out for yourself. I guess what I can encourage you to do is to not worry about the 10-year plan. Don't worry about way later. What are the small steps that you can take today to move a little bit closer? So good luck. And I'd love to hear in the comments what challenges you're facing right now, what decisions you're making, and how you're moving towards a career that you love. Thanks for watching.